formula to it. A very simple formula.
Hi guys, welcome back to another Slash It video. My name is Jared. If you have not heard, they are making a prequel series to the 2017 It and the 2019 It Chapter 2. We are still completely in the dark about when exactly it takes place, what it'll feature, and what exactly the series will be about. And that is exactly what I'll be taking guessing some theories, and trying to figure out the best possible example of what this series could be. Before we do that, if you would like to follow me on Twitter, you can do that at @SlashItHorror. And without further ado, let's just jump into the best possible theories for this miniseries. Well, if you've read the book or seen the movie, you'll know just how important the number 27 is to the events of this movie. 27 years after the last time Pennywise showed up in Derry was when the events of It took place. Well, one theory is that this series will show exactly what Pennywise was up to before the events of It, and what he did while he was on Earth. The best guess is this will be exactly how they make another It, without just making a sequel that never existed or something like that. They can have a group of kids fight Pennywise without it being a direct sequel, therefore allowing them to hit the same market as the first two films that they made. This is quite likely just knowing the risks some of my other theories are, and the one thing I know about Hollywood is they are not a huge fan of risks. For this though, I hope it feels more like the It miniseries, which would work timeline wise anyways, because if I remember correctly, the first It was sometime in the 1980s, and then the original It miniseries was sometime in the, I think, 50s-ish? 60s? Maybe the 60s, if I remember it correctly. Maybe 70s, I don't know, it's somewhere in that time span. And another thing is, I want this movie to be much more calmer and less jump scary, I guess, if that's how you would want to word it. Just more subtle horror, at least until the build up to the climax of the series. That's one thing I did not like about both It's, really, is just how jump scary they all get, because I think it personally feels kind of just stupid to be so jump scary. It makes sense on why they did it the way they did, but I feel like they should have done it differently. In It Chapter 2, we get a very, very slight look into the history or the beginning of what we can only assume is the truthful version of some of his backstory. We see Pennywise as a human being that scares one of the adults as Pennywise is putting on his clown makeup. There's sand, and we see a picture of Pennywise's human form on the wall of this random old lady's house, which turns out to be Pennywise. But what's likely to happen is that we will explore Pennywise as he fell to Earth, and what he does that leads him to Derry, and what he does inside Derry the first time he is there. Honestly, this is my preferred theory. It's the one I'm personally the most interested in, as I think if written correctly, they could add some good backstory to this Pennywise without going into the giant turtle supernatural thing. Another huge thing you gotta understand is, because I did not mention it earlier, the picture that you see Pennywise in, he's at a carnival, or a circus, probably a circus, but whichever one, and what happens is you see him actually becoming, he starts becoming Pennywise, and there's a deleted scene where he actually eats a baby. In the womb eats a baby. I don't know. I don't understand what the whole thing is, but he literally just eats a child like a baby. And they cut it out of the movie, for obvious reasons, but I don't know what they were trying to do there, and I'm not interested in seeing what they were doing. But if you don't know what the turtle is, you'll see in my next theory exactly what that is, but you'll know in a second. I think it would make the most sense, and I would love a deeper explanation of the picture in It Chapter 2. Because I think there is really something very, very interesting they could do, especially if the storyline is incredibly interesting. Okay, personally, this is my least favorite idea, but honestly, this may go the route they were trying to go, and it's kind of lucky that they didn't go this way in the first two movies, because anyways, it just would not have really fit. But anyways, in the book, it has a cosmic enemy, a giant turtle, and the entire ending is it, whose true entity is a spider, by the way, has a fight with this turtle that eventually destroys it. So honestly, this is not something I think will be interesting, because if they explain more about the giant turtle and more about its final form, the ending of It Chapter 2 will make literally no sense, because why wouldn't the turtle come and just stop it from ever being hurt? They'd have to write around that, which I would not be a big fan of. I think that what they should do is try to write, like, I think they should just completely ignore the turtle and like the true entity of Pennywise and just make him a scary clown. That's his true form. Because otherwise you're just gonna end up just kind of being silly, I think, personally. Well, that is all I have for this video. I will be keeping you guys up to date on anything to do with this series because I am very interested and excited for this. If you enjoyed this kind of little update for horror movies and want more updates for horror movies like this, please do follow me on Twitter @Horror and tell me on Instagram is also @horror. Like this video, maybe leave a comment down below explaining like what kind of thing you want me to do. Because I love doing this. I love making videos on this channel. It's one of my favorite things I've ever done, especially I love everything about this. I also love making the podcast, which I have. It's on every podcast app you could have. If it's not on one, again, DM me on Twitter. I will fix it for you as fast as I possibly can. You can follow me on Twitter. You do that. You can also go check out MediaBite, which is another channel I started with my brother, where we do videos kind of like this, but more about just, Marvel movies or whatever movies we want to talk about. We also do a podcast there. Links will be in the description to all of that stuff. I promise more videos are coming soon, but really just wanted to see what type of videos I enjoy making as well as you guys enjoy me making and what kind of that fit into the theme of this general channel about just loving scary movies as much as I do. Thank you for everything, and like always, treat every day like it's Halloween.